What if I told you one of the most powerful players in the Iran-Israel tension isn't the one firing missiles, but the one shaking hands? Why is the UAE, a country sitting right in the middle of the Middle East, choosing diplomacy while the region heats up? Is it playing both sides or trying to prevent a disaster? And the biggest question, can the UAE actually stop this conflict from turning into something much bigger? Let's break it down. First, understand this. The UAE is not directly part of the Iran-Israel war. It is not sending troops. It is not launching attacks. But does that mean it's neutral? Not exactly, because in geopolitics, what you don't do can be just as powerful as what you do. Now think about this. In 2020, the UAE made a historic move. It officially normalized relations with Israel through the Abraham Accords. Why would an Arab country do that? At a time when many nations in the region still oppose Israel, the UAE chose cooperation over conflict. But here's the twist. The UAE also maintains working relations with Iran. So the real question is, how can the UAE be close to both Israel and Iran at the same time? This is where strategy comes in. The UAE's role is not about war, it's about balance. On one side, it strengthens ties with Israel. Economic deals, technology partnerships, intelligence cooperation. On the other side, it keeps diplomatic channels open with Iran, avoiding direct confrontation, maintaining trade links, reducing tensions in the Gulf. So ask yourself, is the UAE trying to pick a side or trying to control the game? Here's something most people don't realize. The UAE fears one thing more than anything else: a full-scale regional war. Why? Because if Iran and Israel go all out, oil routes could be blocked, global markets could crash, and the Gulf region, where the UAE sits, could become unstable overnight. So the UAE's strategy becomes clear: prevent escalation at all costs. But how? Through diplomacy. The UAE has repeatedly called for de-escalation in the region. It pushes for dialogue instead of confrontation. And here's the key. Because it has ties with both sides, it's in a rare position to act as a bridge. But can it really influence countries like Iran or Israel? Or is it overestimating its power? The UAE is also closely aligned with the United States, and the US is one of Israel's strongest allies. So naturally, this puts the UAE closer to Israel strategically. But at the same time, the UAE does not want to provoke Iran. Why? Because Iran is right across the Gulf. Any conflict with Iran wouldn't be distant. It would be immediate. So again, the question becomes, is the UAE balancing alliances or walking on a tightrope? Now think about this carefully. If tensions rise, the UAE could quietly support international efforts that benefit Israel, but publicly, it will continue calling for peace. Why? Because its image matters. The UAE wants to be seen as a global business hub, not a war participant. War scares investors. Instability kills tourism. So peace is not just a moral choice for the UAE, it's an economic necessity. But here's the most important question of all. What happens if the conflict explodes beyond control? Would the UAE stay neutral, or would it be forced to choose a side? And if it chooses, would that decision change the entire balance of power in the Middle East? Because one thing is clear, the UAE is not just watching this conflict, it is quietly shaping it, not through weapons, but through diplomacy, strategy, and influence. So next time you hear about Iran and Israel, don't just look at the countries fighting, look at the ones in the middle, because sometimes the most powerful role in a war is played by the country trying to stop it.